Good workout today. We had yesterday off, and school starts on Wednesday, so adjusting that. Grades look. I'm real excited about what our guys did grade-wise, well above a 3.0, and just totaling it all up here as we go forward. But excited about it. All the guys, the seniors, are doing well, and the graduate students are doing well too. So. They look to be in good shape as far as getting to those degrees, the graduate degrees, the master's program. So that's gone good. Sunday off, I went recruiting. I went up to Ohio, saw some kids and watched some film in between games up there and at this event. So good day today. Everybody out there. Roselle's practicing now too. So that's added. So we got a nice little rotation with 6 big guys, 3 on each team, blues and golds, and then rotate the other guys in there. So it's good to have 16 guys out there and got a lot of shots up today, a lot of execution, and then worked on some Georgia Tech and their plays. So we're probably doing a little bit more of that this year, starting earlier on other teams' stuff, less but earlier in the week. So less each day, but earlier in the week, and getting some things across. So again, everybody's pretty healthy and in pretty good shape, and we start school on Wednesday.
Yeah, you guys, last year your rebounding margin was like 1.5 at the end of the year. You wanted to fix the front court stuff.
Yeah.
You're at like 13 or something right now.
Yeah.
I mean, are you happy with where you're? I mean, what your goal was? What, top rebounding by 15?
No, I mean that would be a record setting. I mean, but
I
yeah,
forget what you said.
yeah. Each game. I mean, 10 has generally been our goal. That's what we've done. Some games we think it's the Syracuse game. We felt it had to be 15. So there's been some games where we'll say that it has to be 15, and more of an emphasis. Just a team it's critical against the zone. If they're playing zone, we got to get more offensive rebounds. That's our belief, and that's what we emphasize. So yeah, I mean, there was a few things, I hate to even, talk about last year. I mean, obviously we didn't have the team we thought we were going to have. We're adjusting, we're changing. So many different guys out. I mean, the big guys that we had weren't healthy. The ones that were playing, guys were running around with a limp up and down the floor, and other guys that were out. So it's just, I don't even know how you can compare the two. I'd rather not. But since you brought it up, Paul.
I'm saying you've improved.
Yeah, and when we've improved that as the year has gone on too this year, and that's been the emphasis, and that I was concerned about the rebounding earlier in the year. I was not as excited about where we're at now. The last 4 or 5 games, we've taken it up a notch, and that's been good to see. I think our defense has had something to do with that. I think our offensive execution too, and we face more zone too. So I think we've been getting more offensive rebounds in these games too as well. So recently, but it has been our big emphasis: the blocking out, the long rebounds, and we've really made it gone more to a approach of our man cannot get the rebound. We got to make sure he's not getting the rebound, and so making sure and emphasizing the blockouts and making sure we do our job.
You watch Raphael in there. Even if he doesn't get the rebound, looks like he blocks people out.
Yeah.
He tips the ball to other guys, and you also are getting rebounding from your guards.
Yeah.
Is that part of like why you brought a guy like Sterling here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we're playing Chris at the 2 rather than the 3, so you think that's going to help the rebounding. Sterling, just has a knack. I mean, it was something I saw the numbers when we started talking to him, watched them play in games, and he just has a knack. He goes and gets it. We sent those 2 guys to the boards in recent games. The Syracuse game, we thought we could hurt them with second shots in the zone, so normally we have them back on the offensive rebounds. But I'm looking, they're smart. They seem to be able to make adjustments, and they want to go to the glass offensively. And so we're going to keep going back and forth on what we're doing with those guys. But, we're bigger at each position right now. Like I said, we're pretty big across the board. We're not 7 foot, but, who is at the 5? But we've got good size, good width, I think, across the board. Very good size, really, if you look at 1 through 4. And then our 5 men maybe an inch or 2, maybe. But, we've got, plenty of them. So I think we make up for it in that area. So, your defense has to be better. Then you'll miss more shots, and then you'll get more rebounds. That's it. Offense is better. You take good shots. You get better offensive rebounding position. So I think they kind of go hand in hand.
Talking about the difference between this team the ranking this week, you guys in the top 25. Can you talk about, where this team is now?
Yeah, I mean, we're healthy. We got all our guys. I mean, there's all those things, and we're getting ranked in different things, and but we've got a lot to do. We know that, and we've got to go, and we're gonna have plenty of opportunities. So it's coming, but we got to get better. And I thought we played hard. I thought we executed today, and we've got to go defend better than we did today in practice wise. But it's fun. It's a fun group. They're working hard. They're obviously doing things the right way in so many ways, as all of our team does. But there's a I think maybe we need some we will hit some more adversity, but there's a real commitment to getting better. We got great leadership. I think that's evident, and I think we're getting better. We're good, and we're getting better.
Speaking of that, Jamie, over the years, you guys have had some pretty good duos and trios of guys leading the way. But are James and Mike and Jamel sort of becoming one of those better like big three that you guys have had?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really label or what, but they're going into the year where they're experienced guys that have scored points and have played a lot of minutes, and we're running through them offensively. There's pretty much every play in Sheldon in there as well that we're running the plays for the sets. But we've got you're talking that we have a 5-man that rebounds pretty good and finishes pretty good, and then you got 2s that shoot it pretty good and defend pretty well. So put those around those guys, I think it helps. It's those 3, but I think we got the right pieces at the other spots too to complement them. And that's important. But I think James is he's playing really well. They're better players too than last year too, and they've improved, and they're improving as year. I think Jamel's doing some things a lot better in the last 2 weeks or so. Decisions on drives and moving without the ball, and continuing to work. I think Mike's played very good defense too in recent games too. I think his defense has really improved. He's really done a good job. I don't think I've talked enough about that. Guarding ball screens really has led the way in that area.
Are those 3 kind of playing and working together as well as a trio as across the conference? I mean, you look at maybe they're not some of the bigger names, but
yeah, I mean, they're good. I mean, they're good players. I mean, I don't know. I can't really speak to the other guys on what they're ranked as recruits, and who decided who the bigger names were at the time and at the start of the year. But they were pretty. They put up big numbers as sophomores, and I think they were two of the leading scorers returning. So in those 2 guys, so I don't know if they're that much of a. See, we got so many good players. I mean, you can't you can't in this conference that it's hard to recognize everybody. And the fact of the matter is we didn't we're used to being winning at being a ranked team and finishing high level. We weren't last year, and so with that becomes a lesser name, I guess. So that's there are repercussions for not being as good as you've been year in, year out.
You guys are averaging 15 second chance points a game. Is that a good number by you? Or
I don't follow that as much as the offensive rebounding percentage. I mean, they're really speaking about the same things.
13 offensive
Yeah.
rebounds a game.
Yeah. We look at those numbers, and that's a high number. So we definitely want to get to that, and that offensive rebounding percentage of shots. We look at that. So second chance points, I see it at the end, but we don't we talk about that. I think sometimes that can get. We just want to make sure that we're showing we're doing the job on the offensive rebounding. So. I mean, it's always been an emphasis. We've always been good at it. I think in recent games it has been better, and that was our big emphasis in Syracuse. We faced a lot of zone in the last 3 games. I think that's had something to do with it too. We always believe we got to get over 40% of our misses in against the zone, and so we really emphasize that. So we got zoned a lot in the last 3 games.
I think you guys are generally unfazed by landing in the top 25. This is a mature group. It's not going to.
Yeah, it was the first I heard about it, so I don't know if I've changed since I found out about it, but I'll ask the guys. Nobody seemed to mention it today, so I don't know.
But you don't have any concerns that it's going to go to their head, or
No, I mean, we've been in the top 25 for years. I mean, I've seen more phase that we weren't. Maybe there were phase when we weren't in it and wanted to do something about it. But it's good. It's good to go earn something. I mean, the rankings are a great thing and they're great for college sports. But the reality is we're ranking on something that as many that are still in there that started, there's going to be that many that aren't in there. So yeah, I don't know that they're they're not the, what am I looking for? The Bible. They're not etched in stone. So it's good that we've earned it. We got to do. We got to earn it. We did good. We did good work in November and December. I mean, we put ourselves in a position to be talked about, but we haven't done anything. We got to go do something here in January. So we've got after Christmas to start. I guess with the conference starting in December for us, you got to do something from that point on.
What do you have to do against G10?
We can't let them score inside. We got out rebound. They're a good rebounding team, and I think we got to get some transition baskets, and those are the main things that we're really emphasizing.
What have you seen from the transfer guard, Smith?
Yeah. Obviously, he gives them. Actually, I was on the conference call today with Brian was on right before I was, and they was talking about the ability to make shots and tough shots too. I think run some screens, run some actions, run some plays, and put him at the end of it, and he can make some shots coming off pin downs and fades and or replaces. So he can range, quick release, and one of those guys can just make a shot no matter how well you guard it. And those are good to have every once in a while. Now sometimes they can shoot you out of it, but he's a guy that can make some tough guarded shots when the team plays really good defense.
And that's something that they really didn't have when you put them.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I think that's what Brian was saying too, as well. And they've improved with the 1-year transfer and the graduate transfer in a variety of ways there. I mean, they've got good players that are transfers. They're being there's so many players down there in that area that bounce backs are going to be a pretty rare, pretty common occurrence. When you got players, they generally time to come home. On transfers, bounce backs are good in player high concentration areas of players.
When you see a team that has that three-point shooter from the wing, maybe not specifically this game, is there a guy in your team where you're like, all right, Sterling's going to be the guy that we have to get on him?
Yeah, I mean, we start about a guy, and there's always a guy. I know everybody asks who's going to start on it, but I mean, we really want to be in a position that it's not one guy, and it's a team thing. And then obviously that one guy may not be in the game, and Sterling and Chris are not. They're neither one of them's playing over 30 minutes a game, so it's going to be a couple guys that are on. But also in transition, broken plays, we switch some things. Everybody has to be able to guard him and know his personnel. I mean, that's a big emphasis for us this year, and I hope it's helped our defense. I actually was watching. I was at a clinic speaking at what state was that in? Where was I? Wisconsin was speaking. Their assistant Greg Gard was speaking, and they were talking about guarding different people in transition. And not so much, you may guard somebody different, but you will be guarding somebody different and knowing that, what you have to do when you guard somebody different in transition. So I wish it was that easy that the same guy could guard a guy in transition, guard him the entire game. It just doesn't happen. And so you have to have other guys to do that. So it's really, really important. It was Illinois. That was the state I was in. Illinois was the High School Coaches Association.
Can you talk about the challenges that Charles Mitchell presents?
Well, he's big, he's wide. The rebound numbers are astronomical. I mean, I had to look. I knew that he was averaging a bunch of rebounds to start at the year, and then was looking at the stats yesterday and watching film, and then I was like, he's still at 11 a game. I mean, that's it's one thing to average it through 5 games, another thing to go into conference and be averaging a couple games in the conference and averaging 11. So obviously that's what he does. We've known him. He's from Maryland and now in Georgia Tech, so we've played against him a lot.
You look at a team like Georgia Tech, that was so tough about having 15 teams in conferences and your team trying to get to the top half.
Yeah.
Some of you guys that are used to being in the top half, one of you's gonna have to fall back. I mean, he's been there for a while. It's just hard to make hay in a big conference.
I think there's no question. I think he would say that it's their best team, and yeah, it's as you find we found in the Big East. I mean, how do you move up? You got to get better, but somebody's got to get worse at the same time, and sometimes the other teams aren't as accommodating as you would like. So that's always the challenge. I mean, I always say that the first year that we turned it at up here, forever 100 years ago was a big part of it is we were better, but the division, now we were switched in divisions, so it gave you a little bit more time. It was down. Syracuse wasn't as good that year. We had the weaker division. It was 7 and 6 that they divided, and that was our first year, and a lot of things factored in, but that was very important. And so you're playing them twice, the other teams once, and your schedule fell the right way, and it got you going. That's huge. That's huge in teams that turn it, and they'll say, "Oh, that guy did a great job," or this or that, or sometimes it's just some teams have some injuries, some teams are young, some teams just find a way, or realignment. Realignment's huge, and oftentimes in those factors. I mean, he's building up his program trying to get better, and then you add Syracuse, Pitt, and Notre Dame, and Louisville. So, those are things that weren't on the contract when he signed it.